Ooh, move the camera. From the News Radio, 1120 AM and 93.7 FM, KPNW back studio. This is a back studio because, see, we got the farm grate back here and stuff. That's really nice. We like that. Mr. Ed's behind there. Pretty soon it'll open up and the horse will talk. Anyway, I do the wake-up call 6 a.m. to 9 on KPNW, which streams worldwide at kpnw.com. So with that, let's take a look at, well, stuff that you'll only hear about in Oregon, which maybe is a good thing. All right, so the cumulative effect of homeless trash washing into the Willamette River now has the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality proposing it be regulated under the Federal Clean Water Act. That would make the Willamette River one of only 3 rivers in the entire country that is regulated by the Clean Water Act. The environmental nonprofit Willamette River Keepers gathered evidence during cleanups showing the level of trash in the Willamette has reached unacceptable levels. Now, Riverkeeper Executive Director Travis Williams says that many of their cleanups involve hauling away debris left behind by homeless camps. Riverkeepers gave 5 years worth of data and metrics to the DEQ. And in its draft response, the agency identified stretches of the Willamette in Portland and between Eugene and Corvallis as being chronically trash-strewn. Williams says, and I'll quote him, "We're not trying to be punitive or blame homeless folks, but it's been our experience when there's a lot of trash, municipalities and agencies point fingers at each other and nothing gets done." The benefit of the listing is that it would give the DEQ a tool to prod the owners of those riverbanks to be more responsive. So here's an example. In the Portland area, you've got the Holgate Channel, which is east of Ross Island in central Portland. And that land is essentially owned by a number of different government entities. You have Portland. You have Metro, which is a government agency there. Then you have the Oregon Department of State Lands. And that particular stretch of land up there in Portland is very attractive to homeless encampments. Well, what happens, according to Williams, is if we end up with a lot of people camping and they leave a lot of trash, under a listing, the landowner would have to prevent the camping or clean it up, meaning that the government agencies would have to do their job. So part of the problem with these homeless camps is that they just stack up garbage. And when, during the fall and winter, the water starts getting higher, they evacuate those areas and they just leave all of that garbage, which washes into the river and washes downstream. And we're talking stuff like not just refuse, garbage, containers. We're talking about all sorts of garbage, needles, raw sewage, and other waste that goes right into the river and right downstream. The DEQ is right in the middle of a comment period for the public on the proposal, which is going on now through June 17th. So in a related story, a railroad, ODOT, the Oregon Department of Transportation, and Lane County teamed up to clean up a large-scale homeless camp that spanned a stretch of Highway 99 near Junction City, right by Bish's RV. Now, officials say that project was big to clean up that homeless village. Massive. It included the removal of 80,000 pounds of garbage. 80,000 pounds. Now, let me try to put that in perspective. 4,000 people volunteered to clean up Oregon during Solve's week-long spring cleanup that ended just a few days ago on Monday for Earth Day. What did they collect? 22,000 pounds of litter, statewide, including marine debris. This one homeless camp generated 2,000 pounds of garbage that was left there. Workers also cleared out 3 dozen propane tanks, also a number of random appliances, washers, multiple washers, a dryer, and a hot water tank. All of those things were removed, according to West Lane County Commissioner Ryan Senega. Then hazmat crews moved in. They spent 35 hours cleaning up human waste and biohazards, read as needles and drug paraphernalia. Then you had 3 employees using heavy equipment and an excavator that logged 100 hours of work cleaning the area for one homeless camp. And yes, it's going to be expensive. Now, people that have businesses in the area say while they're glad that particular homeless camp is gone, along with the lawlessness that went along with it, including thefts and other crime issues, their worry is they're just going to come back. Kind of a tense day on Tuesday around Oregon, Washington, and in the Eugene area. That's because a manhunt started late Monday night in Washington, Richland, Washington, and it involved the kidnapping of a toddler and a double murder. The suspect was finally, well, shall we say, corralled in Eugene late Tuesday afternoon. Investigators believed that Elias Huizar killed his ex-wife at a school where she worked on Monday. The Richland School District Superintendent, Shelley Redinger, said that Huiza waited for school to let out for that day, hiding behind what she called a portable area, knowing that she would go by. And it was there that Huiza allegedly shot her. Well, police, suspecting that it may have been Huiza, served a search warrant on his residence. And that's where they found Huiza's 17-year-old girlfriend dead. That girlfriend was also the mother of his 1-year-old son, who was missing. So Monday night, they sent out an Amber Alert that was sent to Washington and parts of Oregon. Then Tuesday morning, both the suspect, Huiza, and that 1-year-old were seen at a Portland, Oregon mini-mart. Well, later on Tuesday, the Benton County, Washington prosecutor involved in the case, Eric Eisinger, had a press conference saying that multiple agencies were involved in the search and that they had multiple search warrants that they were currently using to search for Huiza. Just about an hour after that press conference, Oregon State Police saw Huiza traveling south on I-5 outside of Eugene. That's when a high-speed chase ensued. During that particular chase, Huiza got in a wreck. And what did he do? Pulled a gun and had a gunfight with police. Huiza then was able to speed off from that accident and later on, just outside of Coburg, crashed his vehicle into a semi-truck. Well, Oregon State troopers surrounded his particular vehicle, and as they got up close, they realized that Huiza was dead. He died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The fortunate thing is, the infant, the 1-year-old, was still in the car, uninjured. The child was placed in the custody of Child Protective Services. He was given a medical check, and he was completely okay. So, have you ever heard of what's called the Working Family Parties of Oregon, PAC? Probably not. And the reason I ask this is because they just received a $340,000 campaign donation, which is kind of making people go, why? Now, the Working Families Party of Oregon has a whopping 8,300 or so registered members. But the thing is, occasionally it gets big fat donations. And those donations generally either get, shall we say, funneled to high-profile Democratic candidates, or for powerful nonpartisan candidates. So let's go back 2 years. There was a $250,000 donation to the Working Families Party of Oregon PAC in 2022 that mysteriously ended up paying for advertising for gubernatorial candidate Democrat Tina Kotek. Who made that donation? Well, the donation to the Working Families Party of Oregon PAC was made by Gloria Page. You may not know who Gloria Page is. Gloria Page is the mom of Larry Page. And if you don't know who he is, he co-founded Google, which might have been a little bit embarrassing for Tina Kotek. So this latest donation was made to the Working Families Party of Oregon PAC by the Working Families Party National PAC out of Brooklyn. So who is it going to potentially be going to? What candidate might that fund? Well, there are some ideas. We do know that they've had affiliations in the past with the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 555. But when the Working Families Party of Oregon was contacted, all they would say is, well, they're going to use the money in the primaries. And that means it's not likely to go to a ballot measure where many times the United Food and Commercial Workers Union spends a lot of money in Oregon. So with the donation coming from just the general Working Families Party National PAC, it's fair to ask, well, where did they get thetheir money? Well, according to Willamette Week, the Working Family Party's National PAC receives hefty contributions from PACs funded by two billionaires who happen to support criminal justice reform. They are namely George Soros's Democracy PAC and Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg's Accountable Justice Action Fund. Now, criminal justice reform is a nice way of saying get soft on crime, eliminate bail for dangerous criminals, revise and eliminate crime victim protections, and support Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt. You see, Mike Schmidt was originally elected to the position of DA with a lot of money from Soros's Democracy PAC last go-around. And it was only found out after the election that that money came from, well, Soros. So Willamette Week is reporting that their insiders say the donation to Working Families is going to go mostly to Schmidt. Now, Schmidt is having problems because, well, he's considered to be, shall we say, instrumental in Portland's so-called Schmidt show. And he has less than a quarter of the campaign cash on hand that his opponent, Nathan Vasquez, does. And if that's the case, you might call this all a case of political money laundering. You won't find out until well after the election where it came from. By that time, it's too late. This look at the news brought to you, of course, by Dr. Michael Bratland, he of Chris Dental. Dr. Michael Bratland, who uses space-age technology and space-age alien lasers now to clean your teeth. It's true. If you don't believe me, call him and ask. And by the way, if you need an appointment today, he'll make sure you get an appointment today. He is the only dentist I've ever had where I actually have his personal cell phone number. All of his patients do. He's cool that way. All right, Rick, time for you to get real.